Okay, I think we're recording. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. It's October 29th, and I am Anna Cramsey filling in for the NMD body this evening since they are in Nashville, getting inspired and hanging out and really just being together to work together on the next phase for Team Empire and all of the greatness that is to come. And I am out in Sacramento. For those that don't know me, I'm a qualifying national marketing director. And they wanted me to claim NMD on here, even though I have gone live in some pages and all of that kind of good stuff. So they really wanted to, have me say out loud to the whole team that I've claimed NMD for Sacramento, and be totally open and honest with you guys that it scares the absolute crap out of me. Just want y'all to know that. And I'm really excited because it's definitely a different feeling than I have had in the past. And it's a very, I don't know how to describe it, except for I'm just going to try to share my journey with a lot of you guys because I think it's inspiring to hear the struggles, but to hear the successes as well. So it hasn't been a beautiful journey, here. It hasn't been all rainbows and flowers this past 7 years. And it's taken me the 7 years that I have been in this business to get to this point, to grab a hold of what it is that I know that I'm meant to do and to really rise up and become the leader that I know that I am. And so I'll share with you all, if you haven't, I think I went live in Team Strong last week. And they wanted me to share this too. And really what it comes down to for all of you guys who are looking to take that next step in your business, it really comes down to the decision to absolutely be all in. I can tell you that with absolute conviction that it's because I made a decision instead of just sort of kind of thinking maybe I might possibly sort of kind of get there, which is what has transpired over this past week since I got back from conference, and the activity that is involved in rising up and moving to the next step. And so I hope that inspires you guys, and it might be a little scary, and I'm here to say it's okay to be scared. That means that you're probably moving in the right direction, and the steps and the activity come along with it. So I'm excited to share more about it as the journey unfolds, because it is a journey. So I see Melissa's on. So if Melissa could unmute herself, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. I did a PowerPoint for you guys so that Melissa and I could kind of have some talking points, and you guys could take some screenshots if you would like of what we're going to talk about tonight, which is really about community events. And we titled this Shut the JP Up, because it's really, really about building a community around you that's, people that can feel like they can be uplifted and really show them what Juice Plus community is all about, but without the Juice Plus. And that might sound confusing to some of you guys because it's so ingrained in us about these events, but we're going to walk you through the steps of how it transpired and kind of what has happened since then and how it's taken effect in both of our communities. So I'm going to share my screen for you guys right now, and give me a second here. Can you all see that? Am I good? Yep. Okay, good. Let's see here. So we're going to go ahead, and Melissa and I are going to kind of throw it back and forth, because we do that really well together, and talk about, what it means to put on a Meant for More event. And just so you know, that's a title that we came up with. It's not something you absolutely have to stick with. We're sharing with you what we did, what we created, and what it's done for our businesses and for the community. And so we're finding that it's just been so amazing. I know Melissa can agree on what's transpired since then. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the next slide here and talk about the importance of community events. Really, I just said it in my opening statement, really, but it's about building relationships. And so ours was really centered around women, and I know that there's men on this team, so I want you to know we will be referencing women, but this doesn't have to be just a women's event. I actually had some men show up to mine as well, and even though we did talk a lot about sisterhood and all of that, You can make it look exactly how you want it to look. So, but it really is about building relationships and inspiring and empowering women, in our case, to go out and do more and be more, whatever that means in their own lives. And so it has nothing to do with the product or the business. But what it did, and this is kind of after effects, what it did for both of us was it built credibility in our community of who we are as a character, what we stand for, and that this business that we're in, because all of the people at the event, for the most part, knew we were a part of Juice Plus without even saying the word. Just the credibility piece and breaking the walls down. And being able to shine brightly on the community piece of what we get to be a part of. It's hard enough, sometimes to get people to an event and you just want them to see, how awesome our community is, but they tie it to, you're going to make me buy something or join something, and I don't want to do that. And so what happened is when we dropped that from the event, our attendance rates went through the roof. And I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Melissa.
Mm-hmm. No, I would just agree to that. It created a lot of curiosity, and when people asked about what is this event about, is it about Juice Plus? I got a lot of those questions, and I'm sure you did, Anna, as well. And I said, no, it's not about that. It's about empowering each other and rising each other's women up, because it would keep it vague, and that just created this, I think, momentum of the curiosity of people wanted to find out more. Well, I want to figure out what is this that you're doing, and I think that propelled, at least for me, a lot of my attendance.
Absolutely, I agree. All right, we're gonna move on here. So like I said, we titled it the Meant for More event, and it really transpired from a few different things. And it really, kind of set off, I think not set off, but once we finished reading the book, Girl Wash Your Face, I think it all kind of tied together, like all the connections were made. But Melissa and I had talked for months before about these two moms on social media that we both followed but didn't know that we both followed them, called Kat and Nat. And they're just two moms. They don't promote a product or anything, but they have this community feel, and they just went on, their best friends, and they go on and they're just sharing their lives as moms, and they just are so real and raw about what that looks like and the judgment that comes along with so much stuff out there, right? And we talked for a while before we even decided to do an event about how cool it would be to recreate something like this, because it just gives this place for people to come and be a part of a community. And so we had that kind of conversation ongoing. And then of course this book, and then Jamie, of course, pouring into us about, sharing what the Australians are doing with their type of events, which are very, very similar again, but different, And so it was a combination of those three things that circled around, and then all of a sudden we just got a vision, both of us independently. So we knew we were going to do the event, but we planned ours separately, and they took on a different tone as far as what we did, but the message remained the same. And that was exactly what we just said before: creating community, lifting each other up, and just inspiring people to go out and be more. Melissa, do you have anything to add real quickly to this?
No, I agree with you. And again, like we say, it's shut the JP up. Like, there was absolutely no mention of Juice Plus. And as we get into this a little bit more and we describe the event, Jamie was, one of our featured speakers, and her title as an entrepreneur. She did not mention Juice Plus at all. And that, again, we're creating that curiosity. She talked about her successes as a businesswoman, not as her successes as Juice Plus as the product.
Yep. And I just posted this one post. They are so fun and inspirational, but I actually read this post at the beginning of my event, and I honestly did not know the emotion. You guys know I'm a crier. Y'all saw me on those JP videos. Well, I did not have any intention of crying through this, and I was a sobbing mess just this statement because I know that it hits everybody. This statement hits every mom out there, or father, maybe. I'm not sure, but I know for moms it does. And so the tone of the night was to have a little less guilt and to be authentically who you are and be proud of it, no matter who you are and what you do. And again, I think that it really built some credibility in our industry, because I talked about our industry, that we just need to rise each other up, right? Like we can support another network marketer and another business because that's what we do, right? We're not going to bash you because you're not a part of our, network marketing business kind of thing. So making it your own, obviously she said, we didn't say anything about Juice Plus. We used words like in our industry, in our company, in our community, this business has provided us a platform. We use those kinds of terminology to discuss, why we're doing this. So again, creating curiosity. I think that's it, like Melissa said, why our attendance rate was so high. So just keep that in mind if you're going to plan an event like this. All right, moving on here, creating the event. So for us, the flyer was key to promote on social media. Okay, I have had to really self-teach myself a lot on this because it's not my gift and talent, but I've done it enough where I feel like I can, mess around. And honestly, you guys, I text it to Jamie. I don't tell everybody, text Jamie, but your upline or somebody in your team that's really, really good at it, run it by them and be open for constructive criticism, because I had another one up and it just wasn't jiving. She's like, I would scratch it. And so I just went back to the drawing board and created an image, and I found a picture of a woman, and that's all I was looking for. Just something that might inspire somebody. Don't overthink it and ask somebody for help. You don't have to pay anybody, and you don't need to spend, a week creating the flyer. Know that, okay? Canva, it's a program. If you haven't used it before, this is when I started to really use it, was for this event. It's a great image maker program. And I find for something that's going to need a lot of detail on it, doing it on my desktop is much easier than on my mobile device. So I did it that way. Using powerful words, to capture people's attention, like inspire, empower, build community, all of that kind of stuff. People love seeing that. People want that. That is one thing we learned from this event. I don't know why that line just went there. I don't know what that is. Did someone see a line down the middle, or is that just me? Okay. I don't know. And then of course, mentioning keynote speakers. So let me see. I don't know where that line came from. Do you guys still see that, or is it just me? I don't know.
It's still on there.
It is?
Yeah. Oh no, there it went away.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Here we go. So I just wanted to show you an example of the flyers that we did. And I just copied and pasted, and I made two. And it's really simple to use. They have, this one is actually, they have on Canva, they have like prototypes, like you can go and look at invitation or something like that. And this was already put together like this. All I did was change the words. That's how easy it was. And it was very, very simple to do. So, something to think about. Definitely if you're not sure, run the flyer by somebody who's maybe done events or created flyers. You don't have to pay money for it, but maybe do that. That would be helpful. Okay. Next slide here. We're going to go through keynote speakers. This was definitely something that we had to give some thought to, because you can't just throw an event like this together. And I'll let Melissa talk about her speakers, but I'll just mention real quickly that this is definitely something that was taken by what Jamie had mentioned, is that in Australia, they have these events and sometimes they don't have a JP rep as like the main speaker. And so we started to really talk about that and think about that. Well, what would that look like in our community? So again, both of us separately planning this, and we, like she said, had Jamie as a featured speaker, but she wasn't the main speaker. So for me in my community, for example, we have a councilwoman who ran for mayor of Sacramento, and she actually lives in Natomas. It's a suburb of Sacramento where I live. And she has a family, and she's very, very integrated into this community. And when you think of Natomas, you think of her name. So I thought, wow, well, that would be really fun. And she had just posted about reading the book, Girl Wash Your Face. So that was really kind of cool. So we had a connection, and I didn't know her at all. So you don't need to know the speaker. And I just sent her a quick message, and she's a pretty busy girl. She's very, very busy. And she immediately got back to me because she was intrigued. And I just told her, I am looking to put on a community event in Natomas. And when I think of Natomas, I think of you. And I would love for you to be a keynote speaker. What are your thoughts? That's all I said. She immediately responded within an hour and said, I'm in, just tell me when. So to have someone like her, that drew a lot of activity of people wanting to attend the event. Melissa, do you want to share about your two speakers that you had?
Yes, I actually knew my featured speaker was a TV news reporter, and I knew her because she is in our community, but her son and my son are friends, and she does keynote speaking in the area. And so I immediately thought of her because she has a very impactful story of being a single mom and how she basically started from nothing and worked her way up, being a mom, working many jobs, and had battled cancer. And then continued on to her dream to become a news reporter. And now she is in the comedy and just has an incredible story that I thought was very powerful to share. And then we also had a life coach who I didn't know her. We had a yoga instructor, and we'll get into that a little bit about how I did my event. And we started off with yoga, and the yoga instructor was friends with a life coach. So we included her on the panel. So we had a life coach, or TV news reporter, and then Jamie as our speakers.
Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, we'll go to the next screen because I think that talks more about a little bit more of the timeline of events. Okay. So promoting and inviting. Obviously, we know that's key in any event, but for this, it was just a little bit more detailed because of the type of event. So, of course, we posted to social media. You guys, I've never had that kind of feedback from a post that I've done about an event. Sometimes it's crickets, right? When I post about an event, I had so much response from that, and I literally kept getting notification after notification after notification of an Eventbrite link registration. I've never had that. So when it's the play on words, that you use like for the type of event, and the flyer, that's what it was. And then of course, I think promoting a keynote speaker that is well known in that community. I really think that, and then for Melissa, she probably can share, but doing yoga and drinking wine, that's going to grab a lot of attention from people. People want to do events that inspire them, So one thing that we thought would be helpful is to make a Facebook event page that you could post the Eventbrite link to and post any updates. I didn't do that until after the event. So I'm sharing that with you guys. That could be helpful, making your own, so that way you can invite more people via Facebook, and then they can go to that page, see the Eventbrite, click on it, they can register, boom, you're done. Obviously, posting flyers around the community. I know Melissa did that. Personal invitation, sending messages and calling people and actually inviting them. Quick little, hey, came from a really authentic place of like, I am, really nervous about doing this. I'm really excited. I'd love for your support here. And they're like, absolutely, I want to come. And they knew it was nothing to do with my Juice Plus business. Obviously setting up an Eventbrite link. And if you haven't done that, ask somebody in the team. And really looking at determining the cost of putting on an event like this based on where you're having it, the cost of food, catering. We each charged $15, but my event, that covered the cost of the location and the food because we were at a restaurant, okay? Melissa's event, why don't you share a little about this because it was so cool what you did.
Sure. So we did it out in a setting actually at the yoga teacher or the yoga instructor's property, and she lives very remote, and it has a barn just on acreage. Lovely place. So she donated the location, And then what I decided to do, because since it's all about women empowerment, I wanted to reach out to local female business owners for donations. And so we decided to donate to a local charity, a school for homeless children called One TLC. I thought within our community, because I live in a town of 2,000 people, small farming community, there's not a lot of wealth, there's not, and we live 30 minutes from any metropolitan area. So for me, in our community, I thought if we put it to all of their proceeds went to a charity, I thought it would drive more participation because people would feel that their money was not just going to me, it was going to something for a greater purpose. And I really think that was another key nugget that worked well for driving attendance for us. So we had the location donated. I was able to get the food from a female caterer donated, wine from a female winemaker in the area, and then we also had all of our flowers donated from our local florist, and so everything was donated. So I was able to write a check at the end to that charity, that school for homeless children, and it just, I think it just created, that vibe from the start of what I was looking for our event. I would say $15. I struggled. I think we went back and forth between $10 and $20 for the cost.
Mm-hmm.
I think in hindsight, I'd probably, when we do a next event, which we'll be doing after the first of the year, I will probably charge $20. I kind of feel that after the stuff that I donated and bought, and Anna, I'm sure you probably feel that, it really, I wanted to donate everything that I could to the charity, and the $15 really didn't cover as much as I kind of expected. So I think you could even go, depending on the type of event that you're having, could easily charge $20. And you have to feel that out. Like, my community is entirely different from Anna's community.
Yep.
So you have to feel that out based on your, the socioeconomics of your community.
Yep. And I think I could have charged more for that reason. But what I also did is I contacted the restaurant that we had it at, and I have a relationship with the restaurant because we go to it all the time. And I said the same thing. We're doing a women's empowerment event, and she's a woman who owns that restaurant. And she just was like, I'm going to lower the price. She actually lowered the price for me to have an event there. So I was able to just charge $15. So some people will do that. So something to think about when you're going to plan it. People want to be a part of something like this. And so again, taking the JP out of it and just, I want to build community. I want to, rise people up, those kinds of things. People will do awesome things for you. So just another way to build relationships in your community as well. Okay. So creating an experience. So this is something that, again, talking to Jamie, she was talking about how they do these cute photos and whatnot. And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't want to do like boss babes. I don't know. I'm not feeling that. Don't really know. And so I knew we were going to call it Meant for More. And then I started really thinking about the I am statements that Lauren LaHave has out. If you guys haven't seen that, it's fabulous. And I just thought, well, wouldn't that be cool to like have these powerful words that describe you, that you're holding up in a photo, like just, claiming it, and what kind of experience that would create for the attendees. And so then I kind of processed it a little bit more and thought, wouldn't it be cool to have them, grab a word that they know they're confident in, whether it's brave or whatever, but, challenge each attendee to actually pick a word that they don't really think they are, but they're aspiring to be. So we had a cute little board made up that I did right there before the event, super fast. And we had a nice camera there. So not something you don't have to do, but you can. I'm just telling you what we did. And I just kind of wrote out what I did. So we needed a backdrop because, there was no good lighting in the area where we were at, where Melissa's event, it was this beautiful barn on this lake. And, you don't need a backdrop for that. It was gorgeous. For me, I bought mine on Amazon, and I bought a fake brick wall. It's so cheap. And the pictures turned out fabulous. And I bought these little chalkboards at Michael's, and I wrote most of the words from those cards on there. And so you can find them on the cards, or they're on the cards. So if you need them, and then we just put them out, and people were doing pics on their phones. And then I was doing pictures with my nice camera. I would probably put someone in charge of that because that's hard to host an event like that, and then also show people how to use this big camera. But what that led to is a lot of follow-up after the event and during the event. So I really encouraged people to print it off and put it in a frame. We provided a frame in our swag bag, and to print it off and put it in there and put it in a place where they can see it daily so that they can see those words. And the cool thing I want to share about this is I had moms coming up to me after the event and saying things like, I've never heard the words, or I've never heard your words are powerful. Like things that we normally hear in our community of Juice Plus, because we're so amazing with building each other up and, you know, just self-improvement and working on ourselves. But I didn't realize the circle of moms that I'm running in, you know, that's not normal conversation. And they were very impacted by that, very. And that was really cool. Like just inspiring them on this one little experience of taking a photo that maybe they're like scared to put I'm successful because they don't feel like they're successful. So that was a big thing. So I wanted to share the background of that. If it's something that you end up doing or not, it's not something you have to do, but it really was a great little piece of our thing. So with Melissa's event, we didn't have it set up totally, but people grabbed photos and they took and snapped pictures with their own camera at that event. And these are just some of the pictures. These are unedited ones, but you know, I don't even know some of these people in these pictures. These are people who came to the event that I didn't even know. I know this circle of moms right here in the middle. None of them have ever talked to me about Juice Plus, and I am friends with all of them. And they've never been to one of my events, never liked one of my posts on social media, and they all showed up to my event. And it's pretty cool. And then here we have our whole team, all of Melissa's team there. We didn't have any to post because they all had them on their own phones. Let's see, Melissa, do you want to talk a little bit about swag bags?
Sure. Yeah, so swag bags can be big, you know, or small, but we thought it would just be, you know, something nice that they could walk away with. You know, and especially since it's not a Juice Plus event, it's a bigger event that we were trying to, you know, draw more people. And I know, in my promotion on social media, I even put that like swag, goodies. I would kind of use different terminology to promote my event by putting that out there that people knew they were going to get something to be able to take home. So I know Anna had samples, coupons from local businesses within her community. And some ideas, you know, seek out your yoga, Pilates, workout facilities, I mean, health food stores, anything. And, you know, I found that all you have to do is ask. And, you know, it's amazing. I think for me, you know, when I looked at my community and I went to those local women business owners to ask for donations, you know, I asked, and it was like, I was just blown away by how much that they just said, well, sure. What do you need? What do you want? And the generosity, I guess I didn't expect. And so for us, I had our local floral shop. Well, we only have one. It's a woman who owns it. And she donated 50 yellow roses, as I wanted every woman to walk out with a yellow rose for just a symbolism of friendship. And then our life coach, she has an aromatherapy business, and so she donated small lavender bags for stress relief, or, you know, you can put them in your lingerie drawer, however you want to use them. So she donated 50 of those. And then I was looking for like plantable, like wildflower seeds, and you can get them pressed in paper or you can get them in bags. So I was able, on Amazon, I found these little like pink flowers with wildflower seeds that were pressed in them. And I know you can't see it from this picture, but they're scattered on that little table. And so part of what I said at the end was to grab a few of these flowers as, you know, a symbolism as what this event is about, as to watch these flowers grow. You can plant them in your backyard and use that as a reminder of this event, as it takes time for change. And as we grow and evolve, we're constantly evolving as these flowers are going to continue to, you know, to grow and evolve. So you can do it however you like. And then there's a picture I put, thank you for all of our sponsors. So I have them listed, and I said that to them when they when I ask for donations, I'm going to put your name on, you know, a little frame. And then I went ahead afterwards, I know we'll get into it, and then I sent a personal thank you note to those individual business owners who donated.
So you can see here, all the stuff she's talking about is all just building relationships with people, like the vendors. You know, she can talk a little bit about some of her successes with one of the, you know, the speakers, but we'll get into that. But that's all I see is activity about getting into relationships, even in the planning phase of this event, right? Okay, so I know we're getting close to time here, so I'm going to try to run through this quickly. This is the timeline of the event. And again, ours look different, but they both had the same message. And we had a social hour before to take pictures, drink wine, eat, hang out. That we had an activity to open up the event. Now, Melissa's was a little bit different than mine. So at Melissa's, her event was centered around, I'm going to show you some pictures here in a minute, around yoga and meditation practice for 20 minutes. So we showed up in our yoga outfits. It was so cool. And it was a beautiful night. The sun was setting. And we practiced yoga. I ended up taking pictures because I wanted to take pictures. And I'll show you a little video because it literally set the intention for the event. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was so inspiring, just that part of it, before we even started talking. In my event, we were on a patio that was reserved. And we actually had gone to yoga that morning with Jamie. And we met the yoga instructor that actually instructed our class that morning. We went up to her, and actually Jamie asked her and got into conversation with her and asked her, because I didn't know any yoga instructors. I don't have any personal relationships with them. And she asked her to come that night, and she had just finished. So we told her about, you know, why we were inspired to do this event, and ends up she loves Rachel Hollis and absolutely, you know, just obsessed with her. And she's like, I'll be there. I mean, we just met her that morning. So she showed up and she did a little breathing meditation thing for us in the beginning of our event. And then she stayed to listen after, and she's going to be joining our team. So that's another success I want to share about. But we, again, never spoke about Juice Plus, not one time. So Melissa and I both were the MCs for the night. So we had an agenda. We knew, you know, how it was kind of going to flow, but we also were a little bit, you know, wiggle room of just kind of going with the flow and a little bit more conversation back and forth. It was panel style, and we'll show you some pictures. So we were all sitting together. Melissa was standing, but again, those are just specifics. But it was panel style, where we were asking questions to the speakers, and they were sharing their journey on how they got to where they are today, the struggles, the successes, where they're headed, all of those things. We wrote out here, if you guys want to snapshot this, the questions that we asked them. And really, you guys, Melissa was good. She, you know, was very good about staying on point with the questions, right, and having them answer. My speakers, Jamie, they answered the questions in their opening statement. So I kind of just played off that, and, you know, I wouldn't ask some of the questions if they were already answered. So, you know, if I needed them to elaborate in one area, I would ask them to. So as an MC, that's kind of what was happening at both of our events. So I'm going to move on. So I want to value your time here. Follow up and relationship building. Like Melissa said, sending a note to thank them for joining, obviously. The pictures that were taken that I had on my phone and on my camera, I sent them a picture of themselves, and I just said, you look beautiful last night. And you guys, I mean, these are people, again, not my JP Cusp, nothing. And they're setting it as their profile picture on social media. They're posting about it. They're talking about what an amazing, inspirational night it was. So again, building relationships. Making obviously an effort to connect. And then of course the Facebook group that I started, just to add everybody who was interested. So as events go on in the Sacramento area for me, I can go there and update it. One thing I think is really important is if you can have the next event already planned. We did not, but I think that would be helpful to say, by the way, our next event's happening in 3 or 4 months, which is kind of what we thought would be a good time. This is not something you're doing every week. This is not something you do every month. There's a lot of planning involved. But it sets the tone, again, for, I think, showing that we are more than just a product and a business opportunity, and our community piece is so why people stay here. And we get to shine that brightly when we do an event like this. So it's just an amazing audience, and again, creates so much so much more. You guys know what I'm saying. Okay, really quickly, Melissa, do you want to share some success that's happened from this event?
Sure. So the life coach that was our speaker, her and I actually met for coffee last week, and we are kind of building a working relationship where she wants to partner with me for future events, and likewise. And she's very interested in the product. She actually came to me and was asking me lots of questions because one of her sons is autistic. I didn't bring it up at all. We just met for coffee at this really cool coffee shop. And now we're already planning kind of another event to have at her house. And that was brought up by her. So, who knows where that's going to lead, but I wouldn't have had that relationship with her if I didn't have this event. So.
Yeah, same here. I think that the relationships are what leads to the next step. So again, not everybody that attends events is going to want to be a part of the product or the business, but it's got me into a lot of conversation with people that I would not normally be in conversation with. It broke down barriers and walls in my community of what people thought or think I do. The yoga instructor, again, met with her last week, and it was like divine intervention kind of thing. And she's going to be somebody you guys know very well on this team. I know it. She's a powerful force to be reckoned with. And I would not have known her had we not built this relationship by going to yoga and then having her do this at our event. So I have a few other success stories, but I know that we're already over time, and I want to show you one last thing, just some pictures from our event so you guys can get an idea. Very different environments, again, message the same. And as we were promoting for the event, I was posting on social media. So this is in my stories on Instagram. I was going to play for you. So again, I did not say anything about Juice Plus. People were messaging me like, oh my God, that looks beautiful. Where are you? I want to go there. I want to do this. That looks amazing. Those kinds of comments on the photos that we posted. Oh, okay. Now I don't know how to, okay, there we go. Okay. In closing, if you feel overwhelmed by this call, it's okay. Just remember, you guys, create and design a community event around what works for you, what inspires you. Okay. So if these things, these activities, a part of the yoga or whatever, if that's not you, don't do that. Do what inspires you. Mm-hmm. That's what shines brightly with your intentions behind an event like this. People see that. They can sense it. So do not try to be someone you're not, and shut the JP up, because you're going to go out there and build some amazing relationships. That's what I'm going to end on. Melissa, you got anything else?
No, I think that's good. And feel free to ask us, reach out if you have any questions, more questions. We're happy to give you more info.
Yeah, and I haven't even looked at the question section if people were asking questions. Sorry, I can't do that. So I don't know if I'm allowed to do that now. But if you want to unmute yourself, you can. I can stop the recording. I also was told by Jamie to let you guys know next week's call is going to be a little bit longer because they are going to be rolling out some things that they're discussing this week in Tennessee together. And I think that's it, you guys. So with that, I will sign off, and I don't know what else I have to do here or where the stuff is to stop the call because it's all gone. So give me a second. And I think I go up here. Sorry, guys.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you. Okay, I think I go.
This was amazing, girls. Thank you so much for sharing.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording here. Yay.